coming to you from his new podcasting studio with the same great organic living and gardening advice. Here he is, my dad, the dirt doctor, Howard Garrett.
All right, let's get the next podcast going. We've been messing around with the technology in here. A friend of mine has been helping me get it all set up. We'll see how it works today for you. Going to concentrate on questions, Q&As that have been coming in since we started the podcast a few times ago. And we'll do some of the regular things that we do, starting with my tea. Been doing so many other things. I haven't had one cup of it this morning so far. It's my favorite. It's the juniper and the nettles. And this time, did I put a little ginger in it? I may have. Can't remember for sure. I think I did put a little ginger in it. But here's to everybody out there. Very nice herb tea. One of the things I was going to show you, I talked about this on the last podcast, but this is what I do. I buy it. It comes in a big plastic bag, this particular nettles product, and I just put it in these glass jars like that, keep it nice and clean and easy to use. And I not only drink it hot in the morning, but once it gets cool, it's great to have as a cool summer drink. Add ice to it and all that. Most of the herb teas that I do, I use the same way. But anyway, that's what the tea's all about. The SPCA dogs, I've got some reporting for you to do on that before we get into Q&As and things like that. There are two dogs. Zoe is an 8-year-old. This is at the SPCA here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Again, wherever you are, support your rescue organizations. It's a great way to go. But Zoe is an 8-year-old Yorkie Poodle mix who weighs in at about 12 pounds. This little girl is affectionate, although she may be shy at first and a cuddler. She's also energetic and plays gently and likes to play gently. Zoe is offered through the Foster to Adopt program. She has a couple of surgeries coming up, spay and I'm not even sure what that is. Enucleation. New term for me. I'm going to have to learn what that is. Oh, it says it's a type of surgery on the eye to make her more comfortable and healthy. Surgery and care are covered by the SPCA, and what she needs is a loving, supporting foster home to help her heal and thrive. So anybody interested in that, that'd be a great thing to do. Because of her age, her adoption is free, and she's a senior sweetheart. The SPCA will provide everything you need, including food, bowls, leash, collar, treats, and more. And also Jessie is a female chocolate lab mix who is a 7-year-old tail wagger. She's good on a leash, loves people. She's a cuddler, likes to be close to people. Jessie's one of the SPCA's longtime lovable, so her adoption fee is $0. A buddy report says she is potty trained, loves to go for walks and squeaky toys. She coexisted well with another dog, and looks like a good find there too. Dallas Animal Care Center, 2400 Lone Star Drive. That's in Dallas. Come meet Jessie any day of the week, noon to 6, no appointment needed. Zoe and Jessie are at the Texas Dallas Animal Care Center at that same address, 2400 Lone Star Drive. And good news from the past, Princess and Simon were adopted, so thank you for that help there. Let's see here. Next thing on my list for us today. One thing I wanted to mention, I was doing a review of the online classes the other day. We may be doing a little bit of update, seeing if anything is on the online classes that I've changed my mind about or learned something new or whatever. Not too much has changed. And one thing that really jumped out at me, I had forgotten how good they are. I really cover a lot of stuff in those online classes. If you're not familiar with them, just go to the website and you'll see right on the home page there how to get to both of the online classes. One is an overall class, teaches you everything that I know about organics in 15 chapters. You take it a chapter at a time, you take a test a chapter at a time, and after passing the test, 100% each time you go to the next chapter. And at the end, you become certified by the Texas Organic Research Center. And it's a cool thing to do if you're in the business or not. If you're in the business, you can use the seal, the Torque seal, and the fact that you're certified by Texas Organic Research Center in your marketing material. That's part of the deal. And if you're just a homeowner, you can just brag to other people and you become hopefully a better gardener as a result. But I think you'll enjoy them. I kind of enjoyed going back and going through them myself. I teach both of them. The second course is on a single subject. It's on probably the most important subject I talk about here day in and day out. It's the sick tree treatment. And it not only shows you how to do the sick tree treatment, it shows how to identify the symptoms to know that your tree is in stress enough to need the sick tree treatment. Any tree at all can benefit from it. It doesn't have to be even sick. It can be just not going along as well as you would like, and you can really give it a boost by applying the sick tree treatment. And it's shown in total detail in the class. Okay, all right, let's get to questions, Q&As. One of them that came in, and it may be on down in the list here, but I'll just do it first since I've got it laying here. People have heard me talk about the Hori knife for a long time. The Hori knife is a great gardening tool. It's my favorite gardening tool, I think. And this is the best one. It comes, even with this company, it comes in several different styles. This one has an opener. It has, convex and concave sides to it. It has measuring marks for using it as a trowel, planting things, digging around. I use it as part of the sick tree treatment. I use it to dig around trees carefully, just rough up the soil around trees where I know the soil or mulch is up too high on the base of the tree. And then I usually will use a stiff brush or a blower to blow the soil away from the base of the tree. First step of the sick tree treatment, expose the flare. But I use this for that. I use it for planting. I use it for digging things out if you have some roots that are in the way somewhere. This one side is serrated, and mine has gotten a little dull because I lost it for a while. You can see the handle is a little bit worn there, and it's because I left it outside. I lost it, and it almost went down the hill in the back in the bamboo, and that's why it's looking like this. And it took a little bit away from the serrated edge. When you buy this new, that serrated edge will cut you. It's really sharp. So you can open boxes with it. You can cut roots. You can saw small little woody weeds down with it. Just all kinds of great uses for the Hori Hori knife. Hori stands for dig, so it means dig in Japanese. This brand, not an advertiser, I wish they were, is called Bare Bones. And even in there, if you go online and look at their stuff, you're going to see this is one of the larger ones and the more expensive ones, and they're pricey compared to some of the others you can buy. There's some that just have a kind of a flat, real simple looking wooden handle, and they're made out of as good as steel as this, and they're not as sharp. If you want all those benefits, go with the Bare Bones. It's my favorite by far. Okay. All right, let's get into my other questions here, starting right here. A lot of questions coming in about ice, slipping on the ice, what to use out there. I am a big proponent of sand as opposed to salt. I don't recommend the salt products at all. I think some of the salt products, maybe the potassium products, are better than the sodium ones, but all of the salt products, one, when you have to clean up at the end when the ice is gone, that salt is going into either the drainage way and into our streams and lakes and the sewer system and all that, or it's going to go onto your property, into your turf, into your beds and that sort of thing. So I don't like doing that. I think it's really contaminating the soil, especially if you've been organic for a while. You don't want to be doing something like that that's going to contaminate things. So what do we do instead? Well, years ago, the state of Texas, and I'm sure other states do the same thing, started putting just washed concrete sand. It's called concrete sand or washed sand or sharp sand, something like that. In other words, it's just plain sand. And it works pretty well. It sets up a gritty condition to the ice. It also collects sunlight and heats up a little bit and does help. It's one of the questions I've gotten from several people. Do the sands that I recommend actually help the ice and snow melt? And the answer is yes. They're not going to go quite as fast as the salt, but you're not going to have any contamination at the end. The one I've recommended through the years and still do, I think it's great, is lava sand, because I use lava sand for so many different things. You know, we use it as part of the basic organic program, the bed preparation. It's part of the sick tree treatment. It's part of the tree trunk goop. It's in the formula to go in the tree trunk goop, where you paint the formula, the recipe of the tree trunk goop on a wound when an animal has damaged the trunk, or a car has run into the trunk of a tree, or there's been vandalism, or whatever happened. If you've got injury to the trunk of the tree, you know, that's the tree trunk goop. It works beautifully. It gets rid of the animal if that was the problem, and stops the damage being done, and then starts the healing really fast. Lava sand's part of that formula, the best one. It's the one that's number 4. If you look at dirtdoctor.com and the tree trunk goop, there's 4 formulas. The 4th one's the best one because it contains lava sand and azomite and latex paint, which helps hold it on there for a longer period of time and helps the healing. But we also use the lava sand on ice. It's great. It's a sand that's unique because the lava sand is real porous. It's almost like a tiny popcorn. You know, it has been blown. It's not as loose as perlite. I wouldn't use perlite. Perlite's too messy. It's man-made. You know, it's heated and expanded that way, and it's used in potting soils a whole lot because it's so lightweight. I'm not a big fan of it. I like lava sand and azomite and those kind of things a whole lot better than either it or vermiculite, either one. They're okay, but they're just not top of my list. But the lava sand, when you throw it out on the ice, and I know, you know, we've just gone through a lot of it. We probably, for those of you up north, we've got more coming, it sounds like, too. But throwing it out, setting up a grit situation on the ice, it doesn't eliminate totally slipping. Salt doesn't either. So, you know, still be careful and always wear shoes that have a nice tread on them. Don't make the mistake I did the other day, going out with my house shoes, have a slick bottom and falling and busting my butt, but didn't break anything. But the lava sand, you just broadcast it out, and it really sets up a good condition. And when the ice melts, shoveling it into the turf or into the beds and everything is not only not a problem, but it's very beneficial to the soil. It's part of the organic treatments that I recommend. I just played around with something different. You can go to Facebook and see the little video I did on it. In fact, you know, my stuff is showing up on all the social media now. I usually start at Facebook and then it gets moved to all the other places. But I use basalt sand, basalt sand. And the reason I did is that I had some. I had a bucket of it. I got it from a stone place here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and I was going to do some experimentation with it on bed preparation and using it instead of lava sand in various ways I use lava sand. But I backed off of it a little bit. Not that it's a bad product. It's a darn good product, and it's a volcanic material, and it has a higher paramagnetism, you know, that mysterious property that volcanic materials have to help plants grow so much. It has more of that than the lava sand does, but it is so heavy, it's unreal. If you have a 5-gallon bucket of it, you can barely pick it up. It's really, really heavy. And so I had some, and I thought, well, I'm not going to use it exactly like I was intending to in some bed preparation and replacing lava sand. It's just too heavy to deal with. But I thought, well, why don't I try it on the ice? And I tried it out in the front yard, and I tried it from the 5-gallon bucket. I walked backwards and just sloshed the 5-gallon bucket. You can see how the pattern turned out on Facebook. Take a look at that. It's one of the latest videos that I did on Facebook. And it melted those areas pretty fast. And I think the reason for it is the dark color. You know, it absorbs the sunlight and it just builds up. Any hard material that you use is going to help melt stuff, but if it really soaks up the sun's energy like basalt sand does, that's pretty cool. It's one of the reasons lava works so well. You can get lava black, by the way, and you might want to get some black just to have around for the ice. It probably is better, but it definitely is better than the red, although the red lava sand is good for the ice treatment as well. Sets up a grittiness is all it does, but works very well. There was one other thing I was going to tell you about the basalt. I'll think of it in a minute. It'll come back to me. If you have an excess of it after the sun has melted everything, no problem. Just throw it in the beds and throw it in the turf. It's good across the board, not anything negative about it at all. One reader or listener mentioned that they use cat litter and they get it for about $7 a bag. Cat litter is fine, but it can be any number of things. The cat litter that would probably be the most beneficial for you to use, and it would also be helpful if you have a dog that's peeing in a certain area like we have. We've got both Elvis and Nellie, especially Elvis, have been peeing on floating row cover that's hanging down on one of our big potted plants, and it's totally yellow now. I'm going to wash it out and keep it and reuse it, but Elvis really thinks it's a fine place for his bathroom. But the cat litter that's on the market that would be the best, and it would be best for peeing spots in turf too, because it grabs the excess ammonia and holds it, takes it out of the system, and that's zeolite. Zeolite is a lot of times the only ingredient in cat litter. It's my favorite. If you got cats and you're buying cat litter, that's my favorite one, because it absorbs the ammonia so well. It turns it into a good organic fertilizer actually, and can be used in landscaping or beds, however you want to do it. I recommend it. So other cat litters that would be clays, and you'll have to look at the labels real carefully to try to figure this out. Which one contains bentonite clay or some other kind of clays. I don't like those. I don't like them for cat litter, and I don't like them to be thrown in your beds, because they don't help the friability of the soil and the microbial action in the soil and all the kind of things that we want to have happen. The clay can actually kind of gum up the works. So try to avoid your cat litter products unless they're made out of corn or they're made out of zeolite. Those would be my favorite two that are good for the cats and good, for other things as well. And then there was some conversation and some questions about the quick video that I did in, I think it was in a Lowe's one day, but it doesn't matter whether it was a Lowe's or a Home Depot or a Sam's or whatever it was. My point in the little video that I did, the little feature that we put on the socials, was that it's really irritating to walk in those big stores like that. A lot of the big garden centers, the same thing, and they have it hits you in the face when you come in, those piles and piles and stacks of weed and feed fertilizer, of Roundup products, of 2,4-D, of all the worst chemicals, all the stuff that I don't recommend. They have them stacked up right so you see them when you first walk in the store. Next time you go in and you see that kind of thing and you're talking to the employees, chat with them about the fact that that's probably not the best thing to do. Probably is from selling that stuff, but from an environmental standpoint, from a gardening standpoint, where you're going to have clean food because you have clean, healthy soil, those products do not help in any way. And by the way, one of the little secrets that's going on, not too much of a secret anymore, one of the things that's going on about Roundup right now is that a lot of the products that are sold as Roundup today don't have glyphosate in the product anymore. They let it get cold and it's even good tepid temperature, that tea, herb tea. Yeah, what they've done is they have decided, the people that sell Roundup in different ways have decided that glyphosate's a bad word. And the reason they've decided that is because they've been sued for a multi-jillion dollars and they've lost a bunch of those lawsuits. They've had a lot of settlements out of court, and it's been big numbers, really big numbers, and it's been a lot of it primarily around the active ingredient in Roundup, which is glyphosate, okay? So what they do? Well, instead of taking the whole product off the market, they just changed the ingredients. They took the glyphosate out and put in things like dicamba and some other toxic things that are just as much of a problem, sometimes in a different way than Roundup is a problem. Roundup is a problem because there's so many people that think it's not toxic, that it's not a problem product, but it is big time. You can take a look at any of the information we have on dirtdoctor.com about Roundup and glyphosate, and also go to TORC, Texas Organic Research Center, and look that up. You can just do a general search on lawsuits and things that have been related to Roundup and glyphosate. So the chemical companies, the same ones, are still putting out Roundup. They're just changed from this toxic chemical over to some other toxic chemicals. So watch out for that, and let the stores know when you go in, if they got all that piled up right as you walk in, that you'd rather not have that, rather not have it in the store at all. And what we recommend that we'll talk about on the podcast here a lot is that we recommend things like vinegar and hydrogen peroxide and the essential fatty acid kinds of things, fancy soaps, in other words, a lot of other choices to kill weeds than using something that's going to hurt your health. One of the things I ought to just mention here, I'll mention it every time I talk about Roundup, I guess. A lot of people don't realize this because they've been sold a bill of goods. They've been sold the idea that Roundup is not any more dangerous than aspirin or water. Of course, we don't know that much about aspirin for that matter, but one of the things that is said over and over and over by the people that push the Roundup and sell Roundup is that it is a product that goes away when it hits the soil. It's not active anymore when it hits the soil. Well, the farmers that have done no-till farming and have used a whole lot of Roundup as part of the no-till, it's one of the negatives about a no-till situation. They've realized, and as a result, cut way back on their use of Roundup because it fouls up the biological activity in the soil. Yeah, and one of their other arguments of selling it is that it only affects plants. It doesn't affect animals. Well, bacteria in the soil and in the gut of wildlife and in the gut of pets and livestock and you and me, the glyphosate affects that bacteria. And then that leads to having other health problems. That's what, if you really are interested in learning about it, that's what you need to look into, is how that Roundup, that glyphosate affects bacteria plants, gut plants, bacteria and other related kind of things. It's a problem. It's a big problem. Farmers have seen that, and they've seen their land become less productive after using it over and over and over again. And somebody even commented and asked me what I thought about it. Of course, I think it's horrible, about treating wheat. One of the last things that's done in our large-scale agriculture in this country, more than any other country, I think, is that we spray wheat at the end of its production to dry it out and make it easier to harvest. Yeah, spray it with Roundup. So you're getting Roundup residue in it. There was a test, I don't know how many years ago it was probably 5 or 6 years ago now, where grapes in California were tested for Roundup contamination. It was a really interesting test because they came back 100% containing glyphosate and Roundup residue, which was really especially interesting because there were some organic wines tasted in that research. We've got that on that research, and Torque's website has it also. Okay, I have some questions also about ice and snow, about pets. Should you put booties on your pets and things like that? We don't. Our dogs would look at us like, "Are you nuts? What are you talking about?" They wouldn't go for that at all. We just don't stay out a long time. We go out and do kind of short burst runs and come back and then do it again, later on. Just don't leave your dogs out in the cold all the time. Somebody made a real interesting suggestion, and that was that before a snowstorm or ice storm is coming, they'll put a tarp out on the turf, and then they'll pull it off after the snow and ice is there so they can expose the turf again for the four-legged friends to have a place to go to the bathroom outside. I thought that was a good idea. And let's see, some conversation about my fabulous tree slideshow, and specifically a tree in there called the Italian stone pine. That comes up every year during December because it's one of the trees that you'll find in the stores that's for sale as a living Christmas tree. And it's a beautiful little tree. It does well here in my area, Dallas-Fort Worth area, zone 8 here, and it'll go maybe a little bit north of us, and it does well south of us for sure. Can take most any kind of soil and all that. It did get hurt back in 2021 or in that area where we had that winter where we had a 50-degree drop in temperature in 24 hours. It hurt it, and one of my questions here was, would it help the Italian stone pine that's struggling from that to use the sick tree treatment on? The answer is yes. Anytime you have a plant that's having a little struggle from whatever the reason is, contamination, weather problems, you planted the plant too deep, which is the most common problem across the world, really. The sick tree treatment is always going to be beneficial. So for the Italian stone pine, that's great. If you want to see the biggest, those of you in Texas especially, or anywhere in the South that are thinking about using that plant, we have one in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It's over by Love Field. We've got pictures of it on dirtdoctor.com. There's pictures of it in my Trees for Texas book. There's probably pictures of it also in some of my other books that cover plant material. But it's when you go on the east side of Love Field in Dallas, there's a museum there for aircraft museum, and I don't know what all they have there. It's a pretty cool little museum. They have airplanes and all kinds of stuff in there. Right across the street from that museum is a residential development there, and the house that's right across from the museum has the champion Italian stone pine, if you want to see what one can ultimately become. It's dark green, it's really big, it's pretty, it's over 50 feet tall, it's a big one. A lot of people have made the comment that they don't think that tree grows to be very large, and I guess that comes from the fact that it's sold as these little bitty Christmas trees and all. And the other thing I also should tell you, if you've never heard this, when you buy an Italian stone pine, whether it's for a Christmas tree or you're just going to buy it to plant in the yard, or you want to give it to somebody or whatever, what it looks like in the nursery is completely different than what it's going to look like after it's been planted and it grows for a year. I have no idea why this happens either. I need to find out. It's just genetically what happens, I guess. But when you buy it in the nursery, it has little needles that are about 1 inch to 1.5 inches long, and they're gray-green. It's a pretty green. It's kind of a light gray-green color. It's not a real dark green. When you plant it and it starts to grow, the green gets darker and the needles get 3 or 4 times longer. It's really interesting. I don't know if maybe somebody out there listening does and can tell us and help us out with this. I don't know whether it's some kind of treatment they give it, or even a growth retardant or chemical treatment or something that they do when they're growing them in the nurseries, but they all look that way. So it may just be a part of how the plant grows. Italian stone pine. We talked about the basalt. I got that covered for you. The next question. Oh, we had several people ask, how do you get your company? Somebody said, hey, I'm in the organic nursery business. How do I get listed on your website as a Dirt Doctor destination? And yeah, that's a category that we have on the new website. Real simple. You send us an email to info@dirtdoctor.com. Tell us about your business, or you can go to the Ask Howard portion of dirtdoctor.com, and it's a form that you fill out. It's real simple. You just put your name and your question in there, send it in. And the new website is working. The fellow that designed it tells me we've got so much traffic on dirtdoctor.com that we need to adjust our hosting so it's a little faster. It loads a little bit slow right now, so don't be frustrated. That's a temporary thing. It's going to be going away, but that's where you go. You go into dirtdoctor.com and you go down to below where it says latest organic updates. It's right in the middle of the page, and what that covers are the things that we have recently edited on the website, or added new things. It's called latest organic updates, and in that, one of those 3 columns is where you'll see the Dirt Doctor destinations, and also find a store. Same answer for this. The Dirt Doctor destinations can be somebody that's a contractor or somebody in a retail business. Either one. The Find a Store is going to give you a list of cities. You just do a search for your town and it'll tell you retail stores that sell at least some organic supplies. Very, very few of them out there sell nothing but organic. There are some, there's no question about it, there are some out there. The organic businesses or contractors that are doing that kind of thing, you'll see people that advertise with us, the banner ads that are on dirtdoctor.com. For example, Spriggs Brothers is here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area doing organic stuff, do a beautiful job. And so some of them will be shown on the banner ads on the website, and then others will be shown in the Dirt Doctor destinations. That didn't cost anything, by the way. Doing a banner ad on the website does cost a little. Okay. We had a little conversation about Mahonia not too long ago. I did one of my Facebook videos that I'm doing more and more of if you've been keeping up with the social stuff. But I did it on my Mahonia belii, the rough leaf belii that we have at home. It's under the big live oak that has the crooked trunk. That's the Nellie climbing tree. And yeah, Nellie taught Elvis how to climb that tree. They both have kind of retired from it now that they've gotten a little age on them, but they, for a while, both were doing it. And right under that tree anyway, which is one of the trees in the Fabulous Tree Slideshow, back to it for a second, that Fabulous Tree Slideshow covers how I recommend planting things properly and how to do sick tree treatment and a bunch of basic kind of things. But it also covers some stories about the most interesting trees I've been around, and one of them is that live oak. It's a big live oak now. When we bought the house, it was probably 6 or 7 inch caliber tree. It's big now, but it's still growing at a 45-degree angle. And the reason for that is when we bought the house, it was growing under the weight of a black willow and a bunch of English ivy growing up in it. So it was trying to grow out from under all that. Most people would have cut it down because it was growing at almost a 45-degree angle. But Judy and I decided that we would keep it, and it has become pretty famous now because it's the one that you go to Nellie on dirtdoctor.com, Nellie. Go to Nellie and you'll see her in the tree. She would chase squirrels, and she didn't go up just to the first joint. She went there, and then she went out on a limb way out here, chasing squirrels and birds. And yeah, she did fall out one day, scared me to death, and her too. She kind of started her retirement after that happened. But anyway, the story of that, the story of a little dwarf Japanese maple that was buried incredibly deeply in a container that I bought, and how I fixed that and planted it. The national champion pecan tree, the story of it's covered in the Fabulous Tree Slideshow, and also a tree that I have nothing to do with other than just I've met it twice. The biggest tree in the world, the 3,000-year-old Montezuma cypress in Oaxaca, Mexico, or just outside of Oaxaca, Mexico, is one of the stories in the Fabulous Tree Slideshow. That Montezuma cypress was a good one to know about because there's a lot of you out there that can grow it. It does not grow just in Mexico. It can grow north of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and it's almost evergreen here in Dallas. It's a great, great tree. Okay, let's see. And related to the Mahonia, I didn't finish. The Mahonia that I talked about was in bloom. It had yellow buds almost ready to break all over it, looking really pretty. And this was back before this ice storm and the low temperatures came around. And people wanted to know two things. One is, why was I recommending Mahonia? Because it is considered an invasive species in some places, apparently. Some of the Mahonias are. And the other thing is, would the freeze ruin the flowers, or would the flowers come back? Well, number one, I don't consider Mahonia invasive much at all. I've planted it and used it a lot through my career, and I've never seen it spread out of control at all. I know some of you out there don't agree with that, and if you've got some photographs and some proof and everything, let me know, and we'll put both sides out there always. But I've always looked at Mahonia belii, this rough leaf Mahonia, as one of the tougher plants. It's an evergreen, and it does have the yellow flowers. It does have purple fruit that is edible, especially for wildlife, but some people do it as well. I don't think it tastes very well myself. But anyway, it's a good plant. And somebody said it was invasive. I mentioned to them that there's actually a native Texas Mahonia. I have one. It's a big one. And I'll do a whole deal on all the different Mahonias. Some of them don't do very well in North Texas in the black and white soils. The Oregon grape, which I think is a tremendously beautiful holly, and it grows in a lot of the country. It won't grow in the Dallas-Fort Worth area worth a flip. It hates our black and white soils, the clay soils. But the native one does well, and the Mahonia belii, the rough leaf one, does extremely well. A few of the others do as well. We'll try to cover them all for you. sometime. I've got them mostly covered. In fact, you can go ahead and look at it now on dirtdoctor.com. Just go to the Mahonia, Mohonia entry. And by the way, the search feature on dirtdoctor.com now works. Type in what you want, takes you to the right place, and it'll generally give you a button, I think every time, that says back to the library. So that when you're finished on that page that you pulled up in a search, you typed into the little search window, it'll take you back to the library where there's thousands and thousands and thousands of things in just alphabetical order, okay? You can go straight in there, just click on the button on the top of the page of the website that says library topics, and that's what it takes you to. It takes you to all of that stuff that's in alphabetical order, okay? Questions about where to find the podcast. If you're listening here, you know, one thing, you go to dirtdoctor.com, you click on the YouTube button on the home page. It's that simple, and you scroll down a little bit. It'll show up on different people's computers in different places, so you may have to scroll down a little bit, and you'll see the newest ones are a landscape scene with the Dirt Doctor logo over the top of it. We may, depends on Maggie's time availability to do that, we may change the photograph on it each time so you knew it. You know real just at a glance whether it's the latest podcast or not. It may stay the same one. We'll just see. We're learning, you know, trying out new stuff on all this here in the beginning, and learning a lot as we go. Let's see what's next. We got that. That was the end of that. Oh yeah, one of the questions, which was a cool one. I've been going back and forth with one of the listeners, one of the readers of the website and various things about bird of paradise. Bird of paradise is a beautiful plant. It's interesting though, because the one she was talking about, the bird of paradise, is the fully tropical one. It looks like banana leaves, and it gets about 5-6 feet tall, something like that. It has beautiful, striking yellow and red bird-like flowers. Really beautiful, beautiful. But it's a tropical. You can't have any freezing weather with it. And she was talking to me about wind fertilizing, bringing it in and out, you know, during the winter. If you're any kind of tropical plant that you're trying to grow and you live in an area that freezes, you gotta protect them. You got to bring the plants in, protect them from the freezing temperature, either in a greenhouse or a greenhouse-like situation in the house, if possible, much light as possible, because when you bring a plant in from outside, even though you think you are giving it plenty of light, under skylight, by a window, artificial light, added some LEDs, no matter what you do, the foot candle level is going to be dramatically reduced from what it was used to outside. Even if it wasn't in the full sun, even if it was in a shady situation, it's going to get more foot candles of light outside than you're going to be giving it inside, unless it's a full bore greenhouse and you've got additional lighting added to it. Why is that important to know? Well, one is it's going to slow down the metabolism of the plant, and if you keep watering at the same rate and amount that you've been watering the plant outside, you're going to injure the plant and you might even kill the plant. You've got to adjust your watering, reduce it to match the lower light that the plant's getting inside. And that includes bird of paradise, but it includes everything else that you bring inside the house. There's a couple of plants that are in a category that might fool you though about how easy they are to do that with. First one is aloe vera, and aloe vera is fascinating because it can grow in full sun. You know, you may have seen some of the photographs. We've got it on the website. I consulted with a 250 hectare aloe vera plantation in Costa Rica years ago, and I helped them to get into composting and make their organic program more thorough and all those kind of things. And during that period of time, And what I had learned about aloe vera before that, I always thought aloe vera was a plant that had to grow in full sun, that it was a desert plant. You know, it had to be out in the screaming hot full sun. Aloe vera will grow like gangbusters and just do beautifully inside in regular indoor lit areas, as well as any interior plant, as long as you don't overwater it. They do beautifully inside. You know, another plant in that same category, I did one of my little Facebook videos on this. Another plant in that category is Sansevieria, the mother-in-law's tongue, which comes in all kind of heights and sizes and colors, and some are variegated and some are dark green. I love it. It's a great plant. About all you can do, and I've done it myself, about all you can do wrong with mother-in-law's tongue, the Sansevieria, is water it too much or too often. Either one. Keep it sopping wet, or just water it on the same schedule that you had when it was outside. And yeah, it can take outside. Now, if you use Sansevieria outside, I probably wouldn't have it in full sun. I'd probably put it in filtered light, just kind of a shadier situation outside. But during the growing season, it'll do great inside or out. Now, back to the bird of paradise a minute. It's got an interesting little side story. And what that is that the bird of paradise has the tropical form, which we talked about, and it also has a form that's sold usually as pride of Barbados, or sometimes Mexican bird of paradise. And it's a big old shrubby perennial, and it's gorgeous. It has lacy foliage. It has yellow and red flowers. It'll do well in our area, in Dallas, Fort Worth area, but it's better south of here because it can get some freeze damage. But it's a good one, even if you use it as an annual. I think it's terrific. It needs full sun. It needs full sun. The tropical one is going to do best in full sun to a little filtered light. Its ideal condition would probably be morning sun and through midday, and then some afternoon sun in the afternoon to do its best. But there's a third kind of bird of paradise, and it's my favorite, really, because I've grown it before and had it around for a long time at one of our previous houses. Here in the Lakewood area, we've lived in two different places. In the first one, we had the bird of paradise that's the one, and by the way, the one that's the tropical one is Strelitzia. That's the genus. And the one that the pride of Barbados and the one that I'm talking about right now are both Caesalpinia. It's Caesalpinia, Caesalpinia. The third one, even though it has the same genus, it's got a different species name. It's a woody plant. It's a little woody tree. It'll grow outside in the ground, and it will do well except for the crazy winters that we have. You know what I'm talking about, like we just had the last few days here. But it's pretty tough, and it has a pretty branching system. It has that delicate foliage like the pride of Barbados, and it has the yellow and white flowers, a little larger, a little more open. Pride of Barbados is the one that's going to be the most colorful for you, have flowers all over it. And the one that's the tropical one, the Strelitzia, it is the one that has the bird-looking flowers, very distinctive. And then the one that is the little tree will have the most distinctive plant look. It looks like it's a little ornamental tree, and it does beautifully, but they all do very well if they get some halfway decent weather. Okay. By the way, if you have any of those three plants, you can bring them all inside, and if you live in an area north of here, and keep them over the winter and put them back outside. But especially the one that's woody, the Caesalpinia, that is the little woody tree. It's the one where if you bring it inside, you really need to be careful and let it go pretty dry in between waterings, or you're going to overwater it and then kill it. So be careful with that, all right? Okay, let's see what was next on the Dirt Doctor's list here. One of the questions that I got was, what should I plant in the spring? Well, that's about the most open question I guess I could get. And gosh, you can plant anything. We're easing past the middle of winter now. We're, in the end of January, and we're moving into February. We're in February for sure for everybody. We're in that window where we can start planting seed and get things ready to go for being able to be planted outside later. And in that category, we've got vegetables, we've got herbs of all kinds, we've got landscape plants, whatever you want to do. It's more of a playing around with it kind of thing. But my tip for looking up some of my writings that would help you with that subject, go to the website, dirtdoctor.com, go to the search window and type in something like, what somebody asked me, spring planting or spring seed planting. It will bring you up a list of things, and several of them will be my old columns from the Dallas Morning News, or columns that I wrote for a newsletter or something like that. And you can search through there, find some, search again if it didn't fit exactly what you're looking for, and you're going to find planting techniques. You're going to find recommended varieties that I like. You're going to find tips on things I've tried that didn't work out very well. In other words, there's a tremendous amount of information there if you just simply type into the search window of dirtdoctor.com, seed planting for getting ready for the spring, or winter seed planting. See what I mean? Just use different combinations of phrases there, and you're going to find more stuff than you can believe. You'll find things that other people have written. You'll find a huge amount of stuff that I've written. And one of the things I'm really fired up about, the new website, and I'm just learning how to do it. They're dragging me kicking and screaming, and understanding technology enough to use the site properly. But when I'm able to do it, and Maggie's already getting into it, we're going to be able to edit very quickly, take out things that we used to recommend that we don't recommend anymore, products that turned out to be not so great, products that aren't on the market anymore, products that are new that are on the market now. One of the things you'll find as you read my books and you take my classes, my online classes, and the podcast will be the most updated thing. But one of the things you're going to find is that I really have evolved. I've really changed my recommendations. And the biggest change of all is that everything has gotten simpler. Fewer techniques, fewer things to do, fewer products, and just easier. It's gotten easier and easier and easier. We'll still talk about things that we don't recommend. That we recommended at one time and maybe still do. In fact, let me see if I can find, there was a question about that. Let me see where I wrote that note. We had, it had to do with mixing up, I don't know where I put it, too many of them today. It had to do with mixing Epsom salts and a humate, a liquid humate, and one of the soil amendment kind of things, and Epsom salts, I may have already mentioned that, and something else, vinegar, into apple cider vinegar. In other words, it was obviously something before I invented Garrett Juice formula. And I told the person that wrote me about it, that's fine, you can use that. Epsom salts will definitely help you with certain kinds of things, especially if you've got a magnesium deficiency in your soil. It will help you if you're a tomato grower, if you're having trouble in the past with blossom end rot. That's where the blossom end of the tomato fruit starts dying. It looks like it has a disease. It's not a disease, it's a condition that's created by the fruit not having enough magnesium in it. So it's a nutritional kind of thing too. And one of the things you can do is when you plant your transplants of tomatoes, whether it's in the greenhouse and you're getting them going there or you're doing it out on the site, take a little bit of half a handful of Epsom salts and throw it in the bottom of the hole, plant the plant right on the top of it. You can also do that with two other products. These are the only ones that I recommend for this technique. The other one is liquid or dry humate, compost or a dry humate. You can throw a little bit of it in the bottom of the hole. And the other one is phosphorus, soft rock phosphate. It's hard to find. If you can find any, a little bit down in the hole, set the plant right on any of those three or all three of them, and you'll see the nutrition getting into that plant more efficiently than you ever have and establishing quicker. One of the questions that I got that I missed a minute ago was, how can you keep your little seedlings that you're growing in the greenhouse from getting real tall and weak and spindly and falling over? Just what I went through. A little soft rock phosphate. Oh, here's another way to use soft rock phosphate. Take your bed, your flat, take a pencil and draw a line in the soil there. Put the soft rock phosphate down in that little trench, and then plant your seed right on that soft rock phosphate, or just ground up fine textured phosphate, either one. Literally, the seed touching the phosphorus. That way that seed breaks, it gets an immediate fix of that phosphorus, takes off, you'll get the strongest little seedlings you've ever seen. If you have in your seed mix the things that I recommend as part of the basic organic program, compost, lava sand, azomite, dry molasses, cornmeal, you're going to also force that plant to just really get stronger quicker, have bigger main stem, bigger side stems, better leaves and everything else. And the other thing you don't want to ever skip when you're planting new seed, and I've got a little video I did of this in the socials too, is treat the seed with Garrett Juice. Whether you make it yourself or you buy one of the commercial products, spray the seed, put the seed out on paper, spray the seed with Garrett Juice, let the seed dry. That's just because the seed's easier to handle once you do that. It doesn't hurt anything. But plant that and plant in the trench where the seed's actually touching the phosphorus, and you're going to see some dramatic improvement in those little seedlings not being spindly and too tall and flopping over, and better production quicker in your vegetable garden or herb garden, or if you're growing flowers, same thing. Same techniques with all of those plants. And there was one other thing related to the seed. Oh, light. It may be one of the last things we need to talk about on the planting. As much light as you possibly can use, and if you use artificial light, which you need to do unless you have a really good greenhouse that's letting tremendous amount of light in, you need to beef up the light and get the light as close to the plants as you can. If you're using something that gets hot, like halogen, or some of the lamps get real hot, I think that's the one that gets hot. LED lights don't. You can use LED lights and get them as close to the plants as you possibly can. Use more of them if you're not getting the results you like. And of course, keep them near natural light at windows and things like that as much as you possibly can. But those are the techniques to grow anything from seed and just really have a lot of fun with it. You're going to be amazed how well you'll get things to germinate more evenly and get strong seedlings if you treat the seed with the liquid Garrett Juice first. You want to make it yourself? The formula is always on my website. It's always in all my books. It's in my classes. It's simply compost or liquid humate, compost tea or liquid humate as the base, and then put an ounce of liquid seaweed, little fish if you want it, liquid fish I'd recommend. Apple cider vinegar is the best vinegar, and the dry molasses, liquid molasses, just any kind of molasses. The one we use the most is probably something I should talk about more. You can use the molasses from the grocery store, the blackstrap molasses, if you want to. That's probably the most expensive. It's probably the best to use. It's a little thick and a little hard to use. Most of the molasses that we use when we mix it with fish and seaweed or in the whole Garrett Juice formula, we use the one that is sold as part of a cattle feed mixture. And that's why the feed stores and a lot of nurseries now will have that one in stock. It's more cost effective. The people that sell organic products on a regular basis sell that agricultural molasses. So an ounce of it, an ounce of the molasses, an ounce of the apple cider vinegar, the seaweed, fish, if you want to put that in there, and then the base is either liquid humate or a compost tea. And you don't have to be exact. That's the basic formula. You can add other things to it if you want to. But treating the seed with it, after you plant the seed, treat the area where you have planted with the Garrett Juice mixture, and then as plants grow, spray the Garrett Juice on the foliage too. And you're going to see production like you have never seen before. There's a lot of other specific products, and we'll talk about them on the podcast here, and if anybody has questions about them, send them to me and I'll add them to the Q&A part of the show here. But it's fine to do that, but if you just start with the basics, the ABCs of this organic program that as we teach it now, you're gonna have a lot of fun. You're gonna not be around toxic material. You're gonna have shortcuts. You're gonna have more fun. It works better in every way. Well, those are the main. Let me see if I've skipped any of the questions I wanted to cover for people today. And if you got something else, send me a text, send me info a question at info@dirtdoctor.com, or go to the Ask Howard feature part of the website. Send me a question and I will get back with you on it as quickly as I can, and we'll do it on the socials, or I'll put it in my notes here. They're so well organized here to talk to you on the podcast. I think I covered them all here. We got the Dirt Doctor destinations and find the store. That's right on the homepage of dirtdoctor.com. And I think that's going to do it. One of the things that if you want a book, a couple of things on books before I leave today. Some of my books are hard to find. If you go to Amazon, you're going to be able to find some of them. We don't sell any anymore, with the exception of one, and that is the herb book. We end up buying out the end of the inventory of the Texas Herb book. It's a great book. It's real thick, if I do say so myself, and it covers culinary and medicinal herbs and edible landscaping and all from a very detailed standpoint, including things like I talk about all the time, like comfrey, how to plant it, how to use comfrey and all that kind of thing. And if you want one of those, when you send us an email, send it to info@dirtdoctor.com. Ask me how you do it. You can buy one of those from us while we still have some inventory. But if you want to just go online and get the others, the ones that are still available out there, they can help you. And the two, if you don't have them, that I'd try to find would be the Texas organic fruit and the vegetable gardening book, Texas vegetable gardening book, because it covers vegetables and fruit. Terrible name we put on the book. And then the other one would be the Texas bug book. Texas bug book covers beneficial insects and insects and the pests, and how you treat for those pests, what organic techniques you use. I don't think we've got any more of those, but if you go online, you can find those. They're kind of hard to find in the used bookstores. Sometimes you can find the really older books, but the newer ones you can find online on Amazon, especially the latest one, which is the organic manual, because we did that one with the Mother Earth News. Mother Earth News is still selling it, and I'm sure you can find it under Amazon. Okay, any other specific questions, send them to me during the week. We'll do this, try to have it drop every Saturday unless something happens technically, which is highly likely. If I'm in charge of things, we're going to try to have it for you, though, on a regular basis. Check Facebook and X and even TikTok. YouTube has a lot of my stuff. Some of the longer form things that are almost kind of a short version of podcasts will have under YouTube. And the YouTube button, where can you find it real quick and easy? If you haven't done that yet, go to dirtdoctor.com. That button's right on the homepage. I've enjoyed being with you. We'll talk next time. Those of you that are on board already, enjoy those healthy gardens. Be careful out there. Don't slip and fall like I did. And if you do, I hope you land on a cushiony thing like I did in my rear end. And those of you that haven't joined the organic arena yet, let's give it a try. You will find it is fun, works better in every way. I'll see you next time.